Greetings, welcome back to the Casual Wargamer with our last Grotmas detachment of 2024, Space Wolves, Champions of Fenris. In the last few days, and when this was dropped, I've spent time reading through comments by Space Wolf players with regards to this detachment, and it is, let's just say, it's not been very well received. And I can see why. There are a lot of comments from Space Wolf players saying, I should say, that it's far, far worse than the one they have as their default, and I do agree. It's nowhere near up to that same level. I've seen comments to say it's basically unplayable. It doesn't do a very good job of what it sets out to do. And unfortunately, reading through it time and time again, I struggle to see why anyone would play it either. Where you have even casually, you'd probably try it once to see how it plays, but you're probably not going to bother very, very often. So let's take a look at this and why people feel this way. So naturally, this is a Space Wolves detachment, so you can't take people from other chapters. The detachment rule is the Great Wolf Watches. And it reads as follows. It's basically two abilities. At the end of your opponent's charge phase, each Astartes infantry and walker unit from army that is within 3 inches of one or more enemy units and would be eligible to declare a charge against one or more of those units can declare a charge against one or more of those units, and you resolve that charge as if it was your charge phase. If it is successful, your unit does not receive any charge bonuses. And the other ability is that your Terminators, when not battle shocked, have +1 OC. Okay, so the Terminator C is fair enough. It's nice. The problem is the ability. Most of the comments I saw said if this was a 6-inch charge, so that you could get units in there, it would be okay. 3 inches just means everything's got to be bunched together and it's not going to do an awful lot. There are arguments to say that 6 inches would be too much, but personally I disagree, and the majority of Space Wolf players seem to disagree. This needed to be a 6-inch charge, not a 3-inch. It's just not good enough. As I say, everything has to be kind of bunched up right close together to all to benefit from this and be within that 3 inches of an enemy unit. And when's that likely to happen outside of somebody falling back, or you've just beaten someone and you can move on closer through an objective or something like that? It's not going to happen. So all in all, the detachment rule isn't great. Enhancements. Number 1. Wolf's Wisdom for 30 points. The bearer's unit can declare a charge against one or more enemy units within 6 inches instead of 3 when using the Great Wolf Watches detachment roll. Sorry, but why is this in here? Why was that not, as I've just said, the detachment rule anyway, and this gave you something else? As it is, it lets, it's not worth it, and at 30 points it's too expensive. Foe's Fate for 15 points, only for a Terminator model. Each time an enemy unit, excluding monsters and vehicles with the engagement range of the bearer's unit, falls back, all models in that enemy unit must make a desperate escape test. And when doing so, if that unit is battle shocked, they get -1 to those tests. That's good. Tries to keep people from falling back, and if they do fall back, they're liable to take casualties. The Fang Rune Pendant for 15 points. Again, Terminator only. The bearer's unit is eligible to shoot and declare a charge on a turn in which it fell back. Why only Terminators? That's one of the arguments that I see as well. People going, why is this not on other units? But hey-ho, fair enough. And Long Strider for 20 points. You can re-roll charge rolls made for the bearer's unit. That's fair enough. That's not so bad. The general sort of concern I've seen with regards to these is, and for the upcoming stratagems that we're going to talk about in a sec, is that the detachment seems to want you to be playing Terminators, but then doesn't generally give the Terminators any sort of real benefit. You will still probably end up playing the detachment with the same units that you always do. You might just include 1 or 2 extra Terminator units. I don't know. Again, it goes back to this thing of you need the detachment rule to be 6 inches, not 3. So all in all, I think the enhancements are a little bit... They're all right, but in general, I think they're slightly naff. If Fail's Fate and Fangrune Pendant weren't specific to Terminators, maybe not so bad. Stratagem. So obviously you have Armour of Contempt. You are Space Marines. Prey Taker's Eye. In your shooting or fight phase, 1 infantry unit from your army that has not been selected to shoot or fight gains either lethal hits or sustained hits 1 till the end of the phase. That's nice, always handy. Runes of Claiming, end of your command phase. 1 infantry or walker unit from your army gives you sticky objectives. Set 1 objective mark you control, it remains under your control until the opponent's level of control over it is greater than yours at the end of a phase. Okay, that's always handy, isn't it? Especially for an army that wants to go forwards and spud things. Chilling Howl, in your opponent's command phase, you target 1 of your Terminator units. Each enemy unit within 6 of that unit must make a battle shock test, subtracting 1 if they are below half strength. Nice. Anything that triggers a battle shock always gets some benefit from me. Thumbs up, sorry. Stalking Wolves. In your opponent's shooting phase, just after a unit has selected its targets, 1 Astartes infantry unit from your army was selected as one of the targets of 1 or more of the attacking unit's attacks. Gains stealth. Nice. And then Onrushing Storm. End of your opponent's fight phase, 1 Terminator squad from your army not within engagement range gets picked up, put into strategic reserves, ready to come back down on the following turn. Okay, what is my issue with this? At first glance, you can kind of go, oh, that's all right. It gives me various options, which it does. The problem is, unlike most detachments, the stratagems on this just don't feel like they've got any, what's the word? They don't gel together. They're not bouncing off one another. I can't think of the word now. I've started doing this video. There's no synergy. That's the word I'm looking for. Synergy. Each stratagem is its own thing, and they don't really seem to do much for one another. I just find it all a little bit lackluster in this detachment. And I'm not pleased. It's not the right word. But I'm kind of pleased to see that I'm not the only one that sees this. Every community I've looked at for Space Wolves, from the Facebook community page through to other forums and so forth, have all had pretty much the same attitude, bar 1 or 2 dissenting voices who seem to think that it's really, really good. It's not a well-liked detachment. I think this is one where people are going to play it once or twice, see how it plays, and then just go, I'm not bothering with this. I'll wait until the codex comes out and see what I get there. That is Champions of Fenris, a somewhat disappointing and weak, I would say, detachment. I'm hoping I'm wrong, but when everybody else seems to agree, it's hard to feel that way. What are your thoughts? If you're a Space Wolf player, is the community in general at large correct? But if you disagree and you think this is a good one, please explain why. What are we missing with all this? In the meantime, yes, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Give me a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and I will see you for another video soon. Until then, take care, guys, and good gaming.